Hey everyone, Ben here with exciting news from the latest iRacing quarterly dev update ahead of the release of Season 3 2025, which, alongside announcements of new content, contains some pretty exciting, and some may say overdue, upgrades to the GT3 class. Now, I've been racing GT3 on iRacing for over a year now, and there's no doubt that when you compare it to other sims, the core driving experience comes up a bit short. In particular, the tyre model has been problematic, prone to overheating if you get loose in the car, and taking ages to recover to a reasonable level of grip. Happily, this appears to have been a big focus of 6 months of development time from the iRacing team, alongside updating the aerodynamics of the GT3 Class 2. So let's take a look at the specific changes referenced in the dev update, and I'll offer my reflections on why this is so significant. First up, that issue of tyre temperature sensitivity, which has apparently been addressed, meaning small slides should no longer result in such a dramatic loss of grip, and the tyres should recover more quickly too. In addition, the update states spins and off-tracks should no longer destroy the grip of the tyre for the rest of the run. These updates could transform how we all go GT3 racing, changing the risk-reward calculation and allowing us to push harder on the cars without fear of wrecking our races with even small slides. Will this see driving standards become even more aggressive in iRacing GT3 lobbies if drivers no longer have to underdrive the car in fear of cooking their tyres? Or will the more lenient tyre model reduce the risk of accidents as drivers no longer find themselves sliding across track after a smaller initial mistake? I suppose time will tell. But where iRacing gives with one hand, they're taking with another. Well, sort of. That's because the temperature of the tyres upon leaving the pits is being reduced. Outlaps are now going to require more patience in the GT3 class as the tyres come up to temperature and the correct pressures. In fact, the devs estimate the best lap times will now be set on the 4th or 5th timed lap. This should make qualifying in the standard 8-minute sessions of iRacing particularly challenging, not to mention the early laps of a race session. Eventually, no doubt we'll all get used to this, but the early weeks of Season 3 2025 could be treacherous indeed as we all get up to speed with this change. The devs also say that the new tyre model will allow drivers to push more aggressively and extract more life from their tyres during a stint, but with the downside that performance of the tyre will also drop off. This could make for some more interesting tyre strategies in longer sessions, as drivers weigh up the pros and cons of conserving tyre life versus potentially building a gap to their rivals early on. Updated aerodynamics are also going to be more noticeable in how the GT3 cars feel to race in Season 3 2025, and the devs claim this will also be felt between cars in the class, with different chassis behaving accordingly on track, under slides and other racing conditions. As a result of all of these changes, the new season will unsurprisingly bring with it a need to completely overhaul custom setups for the GT3 class, and a new balance of performance will be introduced, focused on aerodynamic downforce and drag. I've got my fingers crossed that for those who race in the fixed series, that iRacing do a good job in their baseline setups for the cars, and that all of the GT3 class feel great to race out of the box in Season 3 2025. There is more technical detail in the full update regarding tyre spring rates and ride heights too, which you can find in the description to this video. But overall, it seems that the iRacing devs are pinning their hopes on this new tyre and aero model, making the GT3 cars in the sim race more realistically at the limit, and if you go over the limit. And by extension, that the new GT3 cars are going to be more enjoyable to drive than they have been to date in the sim. And if you want a very good example of the kinds of small slides impacting GT3 tyres in the existing iRacing build, as well as the potential peril of even colder tyres at the race start, check out the pinned comment to this video for a phenomenal race from the Algarve International.